Welcome back to another Pirkei Avot text explication. I'm your host, Rabbi Drew. We are now on the very first text of the 5th chapter. Now, what sets this text apart, and as we're about to see many of them, this actually doesn't stand out for this chapter, but does stand out compared to what we've seen in the first 4 chapters. And that is, we have a statement that has no name attached to it. That's right. There's no rabbi identified as actually articulating this statement. And as we're about to see, this is actually rather common for this 5th chapter, but is a stark departure. I can't even begin to describe how sharp of a difference this is from the first 4 chapters, in which every statement has a rabbi attached to it, or at least a sage, not necessarily a rabbi, but at least someone with a name. We have an unnamed statement, and it starts off with 4 words, Ba'asara ma'amarot nivra ha'olam. With 10 utterances, the world was created. Boom. This is the main statement of this, and it actually is going to have, this statement has, or this text I should say, has 4 components, and this is the first one, this opening assertion with 4 utterances or 4, sayings. The world was created. Okay, interesting assertion here. So then the text inquires, Uma Talmud Lomar. What are we supposed to learn out from this? What is this supposed to teach us? V'halo. This is part of the question. V'halo. B'ma'amar echad yachol lihibraot. Okay, that's nice. The world could have just been created with 1. Why are we talking about 10 here? 1 would have sufficed. Why do we need to assert that there are 10? Right? God simply could have said, let the world be created. Right? Now this text in front of us says there were 10. Okay. 1 would have sufficed, right? So now we're under the 3rd component. Ella hipara min harshaim shema'abdim et haolam shnivra ba'asara ma'amarot. No. This was in order to punish the wicked who destroy the world that was created with 10 utterances. And now we're under the final component. V'litain tzachar tov latzadikim shemekaimin et haolam shnivra ba'asara ma'amarot. And to reward the righteous who caused the world to endure that had been created with 10 sayings. Now, one thing that is actually a nice interplay here is the 3rd component talks about Rishaim, wicked, and the 4th, Tzadikim, righteous. This is a common thing that we encounter in early rabbinic literature, is playing off Tzadikim and Rishaim, the wicked and the righteous. So here it's to punish. It's interesting. The wicked get punished and the righteous get rewarded. Now, we don't always see this, and in fact, this is the problem of theodicy, right? Why do sometimes wicked people live well and righteous people suffer? Very common question that's endured throughout the ages and has popped up really briefly in our previous conversations about Pirkei Avot, in our previous discussions. Now, it's a strange answer. The question's actually good. I like the question, right? Why 10? 1 would have been sufficient. I'm not really fully sure why this is the reason given. That it's to take away from the wicked and to give reward to the righteous. Maybe if there was only 1, it would 10 is more than 1. That seems to be the inference here, that 10 is more than 1. So if the wicked are busy destroying the world, that it took 10 different statements that, even if, if they destroyed 4 parts of it, as it were, they would be taken away for parts of their own enjoyment of this world. And similarly, the righteous who are causing this world to endure, maybe they were paid for it, for all these 10 sayings. It's definitely an interesting answer. Certainly, it's a curious assertion at the outset, 10 sayings. What is interesting is the number 10. and it's not the only time. It may be the first time, because it's the first text in this chapter, that we encounter the number 10 in this chapter. In fact, as we think about it, 10 really hasn't occurred as a recurring number so in the first 4 chapters. But as we're about to see, 10 is not an uncommon number in this chapter. So that may be another aspect that this sets the tone for the remainder of the chapter. Why open up with this text? Well, A, it has no attached name, no particular sage attached to it who is articulating, and B, it has the number 10. As we're about to see, it's going to be a common theme throughout this chapter. So again, interesting opening assertion, 10 statements the world was created. Have a good question, and then the answer is that's to take away from the wicked and to recompense the righteous. Interesting opening for this chapter, and thank you so much for watching.